Ubisoft's 2016 E3 conference started off in a weird way, which was dancing. And not normal, organized, respectable dancing, but there's giraffe people and butterfly guitars, and I'm not sure what was going on there, but it sent a very clear message. Welcome to Ubisoft, we're different. The dancing might have actually been a clue about the first game that they debuted. Well, they didn't even really debut it, they mentioned it. It was Just Dance 2017, which they didn't show off anything other than that it was coming. One interesting thing about Just Dance 2017, however, is that they announced that it was coming to the Nintendo NX, which makes it, I believe, the first third-party game to be announced, and after the NX version of Zelda, the second NX game to ever be announced, which is quite an accomplishment for a dancing game. Ghost Recon Wildlands got a very long trailer, which makes sense. It was the thing that closed out their conference last year. It's the thing that opens it up this time, if you ignore the dancing, which you should. They also showed that it's not just a open world you versus the cartel action game. It's an open world you versus the cartel action game with 4-player co-op. And they demonstrated this by showing a mission of 4 different people infiltrating a base to try and capture someone. And, there's vehicles and all sorts of routes that you can travel to reach your objective. It really looks like they are delivering on their promise of it being open world action game that you can approach however you want. And so, based only on this one actual gameplay snippet that they showed, it looks like they're making good on their promise. South Park, The Stick of Truth, was a game that worked surprisingly well, and so, of course, they had to follow it up with a sequel, which is called The Fractured Butthole. Yes, the name is hilarious. You can say it as often as you want. The presenters sure did. They also thought it was hilarious. They showed off some gameplay of it and the character creation. They spent some time focusing on the combat, which, unlike the Paper Mario-ish combat system of The Stick of Truth, is grid-based. It's still a turn-based RPG, but instead of the 2 sides lining up, they now have a little bit of a chessboard to play around with. It should make it more tactical, because everyone knows that, tactical is the attribute that you want to get out of your South Park games. And they really want you to buy it, because if you buy The Fractured Butthole, you will get The Stick of Truth for free. So, you can't really argue with getting an entire series with one purchase, so go ahead, buy the new South Park game. Even if you don't like it, you might not like the free game that you got along with it, and that's a lot better than paying for the game and not liking it, right? The Division was the next title to make an appearance. The Underground expansion we already saw at Microsoft's E3, so we're not going to mention that one. They showed off a second expansion, however, that we didn't see at Microsoft's E3, and that is called Survival. It looks like New York got some bad weather in the form of lots and lots of snow, which somehow managed to make the world of The Division even worse. If I had to guess, it's a single-player, standalone sort of expansion, but we're just going to have to wait until it comes out to see. However, there will be new content for you to play with. The Division is a Tom Clancy licensed product, and to go along with that, there are several new costumes in the game. One from Ghost Recon, one from Rainbow Six, and one from Splinter Cell, which means fancy goggles ahoy. Eagle Flight is a game that we've seen before at last year's PlayStation experience. It was shown off again at Ubisoft's E3, and it looks significantly different now. They had 6 Oculus Rift set up, and they did a 3 versus 3 multiplayer. I can't imagine this being a feature that lots of people are going to do, given that the headsets cost $600 a piece and are impossible to get. But if you happen to have 5 friends with Oculus Rifts, yeah, now there's a game that all 6 of you can play together. Ubisoft went through all the trouble of rounding up several Star Trek actors, so that way they could demo a Star Trek VR game called Star Trek Bridge Crew. And in it, as the name suggests, you all take up different positions on the bridge, and so you look around at your station, you push the buttons, you adjust things, and just like in the original show, if your ship is hit, you just kind of have to lean to the side and wobble over. LeVar Burton, otherwise known as Geordie LaForge, was on hand for an interview afterwards, and he seemed very impressed with the game, so who knows, you might as well. I'm not sure how long being part of a bridge crew would be interesting, but VR experiences, at this point, they really just need to be novel more than they need to be something you can do for a long time, and I'm sure that living out all of your Star Trek fantasies could be interesting for a few hours. There was a trailer for For Honor, and the trailer was stupid. Not because the trailer was bad, but because, like, the three different factions, like, they met, and there was, like, a little stream, and then they fought over the stream, and, like, all they had to do was take turns, because, like, they're thirsty. And I don't know. But they followed this up by announcing that there's going to be 3 separate single-player campaigns, and just in case you didn't believe them, they showed off one of them. And so it's a Viking invading Japan, which it makes about as much sense as anything else in the game. The combat looks similar to Mount and Blade, not that it's exactly the same, but that it tracks what you are doing much more so than normal combat does. Like, it's certainly not a button-mashing game. Grow Home was a game where you played as a little red robot named Bud, and he must have been popular because they're making a second one called Grow Up. It's exactly like Grow Home. Because in Grow Home, you had a plant, you made the plant get bigger, and you could steer where it went. Grow Up looks exactly like that, except bigger. So there's more planets, there's more plants, there's more things that you can grow and animals you can interact with. It's a more in every way kind of sequel. You remember Trials, the game where you'd have the motorcycle and you'd go up and down and over the complicated tracks to try and get to from the start to the finish line? Yeah, so that game is way more than motorcycles now. It is Trials of the Blood Dragon, and it looks absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes you're running, sometimes you're in a car, sometimes motorcycles show up again, sometimes you're in a minecart. It's just like constant, like I don't even, if you thought that like Trials had like a thin premise, Trials of the Blood Dragon just takes it like 500% as far on drugs. It looks like fun. As you probably know, there's not going to be an Assassin's Creed game this year. Is going to be an Assassin's Creed movie. They showed off a behind-the-scenes / trailer of the movie to get people interested in it, and I'll tell you, visual effects-wise, it looks like a close match for the game. That's not to say it's going to be a good movie, but it looks accurate. Watch Dogs 2 got a long gameplay trailer showing some of the different things that you could hack, and it had a long stealth section showing how you could use your abilities to get through an area without killing very many people. Because you still end up killing people, don't worry about that. There are 2 PlayStation 4 bits of news related to Watch Dogs 2. First of all of the Watch Dogs 2 DLC is 1 month in advance on the PlayStation 4. And secondly, Sony's movie group is sponsoring the development of a Watch Dogs movie. So maybe next year, instead of hearing about an Assassin's Creed game and getting a Watch Dogs game instead, you'll get a Watch Dogs movie while playing an Assassin's Creed game. Ubisoft closed out the show with a game that's a bit hard to describe. It's called Steep, and it looks like a open world snowboarding / skiing / wingsuit / paragliding game with a heavy focus on being able to issue challenges to other players and replay the things that you've done, and you can do it all in first person, which, by the way, skiing looks super weird in first person. All of the first person actually seems very well implemented. The actual like game structure of it I didn't understand, but it looks like there's going to be a lot to do. Honestly, Steep doesn't look that's special, because SSX has made games before where you have both skiing and snowboarding. There have been other open mountain games, but you don't normally see everything brought together like this. And even in the cases where you do, they don't have wingsuits. Ubisoft's conference was composed of 11 games and a movie. Most of the games looked very good. I mean, a lot of the games that are shown off at E3 tend just to be trailers, but Ubisoft, for pretty much all of them, made sure to show lengthy sections of gameplay, so you knew that it was something that was coming along and was in fact like well advanced into its production, and that's cool to see. However, they showed it off by having demos that went on and on and on. Like, it really probably could have used a little bit of editing, because I frequently found myself going, that's cool, but like, you've already shown me like 3 trailers. Why are you showing me more? Of course I want to see more, but I also want to get to the next bit of news as well. But that's why you're watching the recap video, isn't it? So that way I have to do this and you don't. Well, thank you for watching my recap video of Ubisoft's E3 conference. If you are interested in the rest of the conferences, I've produced videos for all of the ones that have come before this, and I'm going to be producing videos for all of the ones after this. And of course, there's all sorts of other gameplay videos and other things of this nature back at my YouTube channel if you are interested.